In the unforgiving landscape of the Old West, where loyalty was often tested by the sharp edge of a gun and survival meant choosing sides, one woman's act of mercy would spark a storm unlike any other. The mayor of a restless frontier town had made a chilling decision. She must pay the ultimate price for harboring an Apache warrior, an enemy in the eyes of many. But what no one could have predicted was that her fate would soon be altered by a powerful force that rode in from the distant horizon. 10 proud chiefs on horseback, demanding justice and respect in a language older than the land itself. The woman's quiet courage in a world ruled by fear and suspicion was a dangerous rebellion against the harsh codes of the West. To offer sanctuary to one seen as a foe was to invite wrath, yet her heart defied the bitterness surrounding her. She had looked past the painted faces and weapons to see the humanity beneath, a spark that kindled a chain of events that would challenge the very foundation of the town's authority. As the sun set behind rugged mountains, the air thickened with tension and unspoken truths, setting the stage for a confrontation that would be remembered for generations. In a place where power was measured by the draw of a pistol and the strength of one's will, the arrival of those 10 chiefs was more than a show of force. It was a demand for honor and recognition of a code that few settlers understood. Their horses thundered across the plains, shaking the dust from years of conflict and prejudice. What began as a sentence for one woman quickly transformed into a reckoning, revealing the fragile balance between justice and vengeance, fear and respect, law and ancient tradition. The story that unfolds is not just about survival or defiance, but about the courage it takes to stand alone against the tide of hatred and the unexpected alliances forged in the shadow of violence. It is a tale that challenges us to question what justice really means when the line between right and wrong is blurred by fear and history. As the town holds its breath and the chiefs make their demands, we are reminded that even in the harshest places, compassion can be a powerful act of rebellion. Prepare to journey into a world where the stakes are life and death, where honor rides on the back of 10 horses, and where one woman's bravery could change the fate of an entire town. This is a story of courage, sacrifice, and the timeless struggle between justice and survival in the Old West. The town simmered with tension as whispers spread about the woman's defiance, a quiet act of mercy that defied the harsh laws enforced by the mayor. In a place where enemies were to be feared and punished without mercy, her choice to hide an Apache warrior was seen as betrayal. Fear gripped the townspeople's hearts, painting her as a dangerous outcast. Yet beneath the shadows of suspicion, she stood unwavering, guided by a conviction few dared to hold, that compassion could rise above the blood-soaked hatred that stained the land. Her home, once a refuge of peace, became the center of a storm brewing beyond the walls. Every creak of the wind, every distant hoofbeat, seemed to echo the looming danger she faced. The Apache man she sheltered was more than a fugitive. He was a symbol of a world the settlers had long tried to forget. A world of honor, pain, and survival that clashed violently with the settlers' desire for control. In protecting him, she challenged not only the mayor's decree, but the very fabric of a town built on fear. Meanwhile, the mayor hardened his stance, driven by political pressure and the unforgiving eyes of his constituents. The order for her execution was no empty threat. It was a declaration meant to assert authority in a time when the line between law and vengeance blurred. The townsfolk, torn between loyalty and fear, watched silently, some secretly rooting for justice, others ready to deliver the punishment that the mayor demanded. In that uneasy silence, the woman prepared herself for a fate few would dare to face. But as the sun dipped behind the western hills, an unexpected force stirred far beyond the dusty streets. 10 chiefs, leaders of distant tribes bound by ancient codes and fierce pride, rode steadily toward the town. Their arrival was a signal that this was no ordinary conflict. It was a reckoning, a call for respect and justice in a land that had long ignored the voices of its original inhabitants. The ground trembled beneath their horses' hooves, shaking the foundations of the town's fear and prejudice. The stage was set for a confrontation that would test the limits of courage and conviction. As the woman awaited the storm, she knew that the arrival of these chiefs could either be her salvation or the final chapter of a tragic tale. In the harsh landscape of the Old West, where survival often meant sacrifice. A single moment could change everything. The arrival of the 10 chiefs sent ripples through the town like a sudden wind sweeping through dry grass. Their horses, tall and proud, carried them with a silent authority that commanded attention and respect. Clad in traditional regalia that spoke of centuries-old traditions, these leaders were not merely warriors. They were the living embodiment of a culture that refused to be erased. Their presence challenged the mayor's authority and forced the town to confront a history it had tried to bury beneath dust and gunpowder. The woman watched as the chiefs approached her home, their faces calm but resolute. They brought no weapons drawn, only the weight of their collective dignity and the strength of their demands. Through gestures and broken English, they made clear their intent. The woman's life was not theirs to take, and harboring the Apache warrior was an act deserving of respect, not punishment. It was a message rooted in a code older than any law the town had ever known, a code of honor that demanded recognition, even in the face of injustice. Inside the town hall, the mayor fumed, his power suddenly challenged by forces beyond his control. The presence of the chiefs was a reminder that the land was shared by more than just settlers, and that justice could not be blind to history. Political allies counseled caution, but the mayor's pride and fear pushed him toward defiance. He faced a choice: to listen to the chiefs and seek peace, or to cling to his command and risk igniting a conflict that could tear the town apart. As negotiations began, the air thickened with tension and unspoken threats. The townsfolk gathered, torn between the old fears taught by years of conflict and a new respect growing from the sight of the chiefs' unwavering dignity. The woman found herself at the center of this fragile balance, her fate hanging between life and death, between war and peace. The stakes were higher than anyone could have imagined, and every word spoken carried the weight of generations. The night deepened, and with it, the understanding that this was more than a simple dispute. It was a battle for justice, identity, and survival, a struggle that would define not just the woman's life, but the very soul of the Old West. The arrival of those 10 chiefs was not just a show of power, but a demand for the respect that had long been denied. The dawn broke with an uneasy calm, casting long shadows over a town caught between two worlds. The woman, once isolated by fear and suspicion, now stood with the quiet strength of someone who understood the true cost of courage. Her act of harboring the Apache warrior was no longer just a secret. It had become a symbol of defiance and hope, stirring emotions that ran deeper than blood feuds and old grudges. The 10 chiefs' presence lent weight to her cause, reminding the settlers that justice was not theirs alone to decide. As the mayor convened a tense council, the chiefs spoke with a solemn authority that commanded respect. Their voices carried stories of honor, loss, and survival, echoing through the wooden walls of the hall. They demanded not just mercy for the woman, but recognition of the ancient laws that had governed these lands long before the town existed. To them, the woman's actions were aligned with a sacred code, one that valued life, hospitality, and respect for all beings, even those deemed enemies by the settlers. But resistance brewed beneath the surface. Some townsfolk saw the chiefs as invaders challenging their hard-earned control, and the mayor's allies pressed for a harsh response. The tension was palpable, a fragile thread stretched tight over a chasm of fear and misunderstanding. The woman felt the weight of both worlds pressing upon her, one demanding punishment, the other offering protection. Her heart wavered, yet her resolve did not break. In the midst of this turmoil, a young boy from the town approached the woman, his eyes wide with curiosity and innocence. He asked why she risked everything for a man they had been taught to fear. Her answer was simple, yet profound: because every life has worth, and kindness is the bravest choice in a world ruled by fear. The boy's silence spoke volumes, a seed planted in the fertile ground of a new generation, ready to challenge old hatreds. That evening, as the sun dipped low, the town held its breath. The mayor's decision would shape the fate of the woman, the warrior, and the fragile peace hanging in the balance. The arrival of the 10 chiefs had ignited a spark that could either burn down old walls or engulf them all in flames of conflict. The night was thick with anticipation as the mayor faced the crowd gathered in the town square. His voice, once confident and commanding, wavered under the weight of the chief's silent watch and the townspeople's restless murmurs. He knew that his decision was more than a political statement. It was a test of the town's very soul. The execution order loomed like a dark cloud, but the presence of the 10 chiefs had shifted the winds of power in a way no one could ignore. One by one, the chiefs stepped forward, their words calm but resolute. They spoke not of vengeance, but of justice rooted in respect, a justice that transcended bloodlines and old battles. Their message was clear. The woman's act was one of honor, and the warrior she protected was a brother, deserving of compassion and protection. Their unity was a force beyond guns and laws. It was the embodiment of a world that demanded recognition and peace. The townsfolk listened, torn between loyalty to the mayor and the undeniable power of the chief's message. Some faces softened, memories of shared humanity stirring beneath the dust of conflict. Others hardened, clinging to fear and anger like a shield against change. The woman stood silently, her fate hanging in the balance, knowing that the choice before them was more than life or death. It was a decision about what kind of future they wanted to build. Suddenly, a child's voice rang out from the crowd, echoing the sentiment that had begun to bloom in hearts long hardened by fear. "We should choose kindness," the boy said simply, breaking the silence. His words, innocent yet profound, rippled through the crowd like a gentle breeze stirring embers. It was a moment of clarity, a turning point that reminded all present that courage was not the absence of fear, but the willingness to rise above it. As the first light of dawn crept over the horizon, the mayor made his choice. In that fragile moment, the town took its first step toward a new path, one paved by respect, honor, and the undeniable truth that even in the wildest frontiers, humanity could find a way to prevail. With the mayor's unexpected decision to spare the woman's life, a ripple of relief spread through the town, but the true challenge had only just begun. The fragile peace they had glimpsed now demanded careful nurturing, a delicate balance between old traditions and new beginnings. The woman, once condemned, became a symbol, not just of mercy, but of the possibility that two worlds could coexist without violence. Her courage had opened a door few believed could ever exist on these harsh frontier lands. The 10 chiefs remained in the town, their presence a constant reminder of the powerful forces beyond the settlers' narrow views. They engaged with the people, sharing stories of their ancestors, teaching lessons about honor, courage, and respect. Slowly, the settlers began to see them not as enemies, but as bearers of wisdom and culture. This transformation was neither swift nor easy, but each shared meal and each moment of understanding chipped away at decades of fear and hatred. Yet, shadows lurked beyond the horizon. Forces hungry for land and power whispered of rebellion, unwilling to accept the peace forged by the woman and the chiefs. The mayor faced pressure from those who saw the new alliance as a threat to their control, testing his resolve and the fragile trust he had begun to build. The woman knew that to protect the future they dreamed of, she would have to stand stronger than ever, embodying the very honor she had fought for. The Apache warrior she had hidden became a bridge between two worlds, his story intertwined with hers in a testament to resilience and hope. Together, they worked alongside the chiefs to foster understanding and unity, proving that the bonds forged in kindness could withstand the harshest storms. Their courage inspired others, planting seeds of change that would grow far beyond the boundaries of that small frontier town. Through it all, the tribal lanterns continued to glow in the night, their light a beacon of the enduring spirit of respect and compassion. They whispered a promise that even in the wildest lands, humanity's greatest strength lay not in the power to destroy, but in the courage to forgive and embrace. As seasons changed and the land healed from scars of conflict, the town transformed in ways no one had dared to imagine. Children of settlers and tribe played side by side, their laughter blending into a new song of hope and unity. Traditions once kept separate began to intertwine, creating a shared culture rich with respect and learning. The woman watched this evolution with quiet pride, knowing that the journey from fear to friendship was one marked by countless small acts of bravery and kindness. The mayor, once rigid and unyielding, became an unlikely advocate for peace, his leadership shaped by the lessons he had learned from the chiefs and the woman's unwavering spirit. His change of heart was a powerful symbol that even those entrenched in old ways could grow and adapt. Yet, he remained vigilant, aware that the peace they enjoyed was fragile and demanded constant care and courage to protect. Despite the progress, the frontier remained a place of uncertainty. Threats from outside settlers, greed-driven land claims, and lingering prejudices tested the community's resilience. The woman, standing at the heart of this evolving world, embraced her role as a guardian of peace, ready to face whatever challenges came next. Her bravery had ignited a fire that could not be easily extinguished. The story of the woman, the Apache warrior, and the 10 chiefs became legend, a powerful reminder that respect and honor could bridge even the deepest divides. Their legacy was a testament to the strength found in compassion, the courage to stand against injustice, and the belief that humanity's truest victories are won not with guns, but with the heart. As the tribal lanterns illuminated the night sky, they carried a timeless message. In the harshest of places, where darkness threatens to prevail, a single act of courage and kindness can light the way for generations to come. The unity that blossomed between settlers and the tribe became a living testament to what courage and respect could accomplish in a land once divided by fear. The woman, once condemned to death, now walked freely through the town, her presence a symbol of hope and transformation. Yet, she remained humble, aware that peace was fragile and that old wounds could reopen with the slightest provocation. Every smile she saw, every handshake shared, was a small victory against the tides of hatred that had long swept the frontier. The 10 chiefs, respected and honored, continued to teach and guide, their wisdom bridging generations and cultures. Their stories became part of the town's fabric, woven into the lives of settlers and native alike. Together, they celebrated the land and its history, forging bonds stronger than the guns that once ruled it. The woman found strength in these connections, realizing that the true power of her act lay not just in saving one life, but in awakening the hearts of many. Still, challenges arose as outsiders with little regard for the fragile peace sought to claim the land for themselves. Greed and ambition threatened to undo the progress made, forcing the community to stand united once more. The woman, with the unwavering support of the chiefs and settlers who had come to believe in her cause, faced these threats with the same courage that had saved her life. She understood that peace was a constant battle, one that required vigilance and unyielding resolve. In quiet moments beneath the vast sky, she would gaze upon the tribal lanterns glowing softly in the night, each flicker a reminder of the journey from darkness to light. They were more than mere lanterns. They were beacons of a future where respect and compassion might one day prevail over fear and violence. The woman's story had become a legend, but it was also a call to action, a reminder that the smallest acts of kindness can ripple through time. Her legacy inspired not only the town but all who heard it, a timeless tale of how honor and humanity could change even the wildest frontiers. And as long as those lanterns burned, the light of respect would never fade. With each passing season, the community grew stronger, bound by shared trials and triumphs. The children of both worlds learned the language of friendship and understanding, their innocent hearts untouched by the old conflicts. Their laughter became the soundtrack of a new era, one where fear no longer dictated the rules. The woman saw in their eyes the promise of a future she had once only dared to dream about, a future born from the courage to stand for what was right. The mayor, once a man driven by power and fear, evolved into a leader who understood the true meaning of justice. His journey mirrored that of the town, a slow but profound transformation sparked by the arrival of the 10 chiefs and the woman's unwavering bravery. Though challenges remained, his newfound respect for the tribe and their ways helped guide the town toward lasting peace. It was a testament to the power of change, even in the most unlikely of hearts. Yet the frontier was never truly tame. and whispers of conflict lingered on the horizon. Outside forces, hungry for control and riches, threatened to undo all that had been built. The woman, now a pillar of strength and hope, prepared to defend the fragile harmony with everything she had. She understood that peace was not a destination, but a journey, one requiring constant vigilance and sacrifice. The tribal lanterns continued to glow, their light unwavering in the face of darkness. They told a story of resilience, of a woman who risked everything to protect an enemy, and, in doing so, ignited a flame that would guide her people through the wildest storms. Her courage became a legend, not for the battles fought, but for the humanity she chose to embrace. As the night sky stretched endless above, the woman's story echoed through the land, a reminder that even the harshest places, respect and honor could light the way forward, inspiring generations to come. The town had transformed, but the road ahead remained uncertain. Old wounds and new challenges tested the fragile alliance forged by the woman, the Apache warrior, and the 10 chiefs. The community faced threats not only from outsiders hungry for land, but also from within, as fear and prejudice lingered in hidden corners. Yet, the bonds formed through respect and shared struggle proved resilient. The woman's unwavering courage inspired others to rise, reminding them that the fight for justice was never truly over. New leaders emerged from both settlers and tribe, guided by the lessons learned from the past and the hope for a better future. Together, they faced the daunting task of rebuilding trust in a world that had long been fractured by violence and suspicion. The woman stood at the heart of this renewal, a living testament to the power of compassion and honor. Her story became a beacon, lighting the way for those who dared to dream of peace in a land shaped by conflict. Yet, even as progress was made, the threat of violence loomed. Rival factions and opportunists sought to exploit divisions, aiming to shatter the fragile harmony. The woman and her allies prepared to defend not only their homes, but the very idea that respect could triumph over hatred. The stakes had never been higher, and the lessons of the past weighed heavily on their shoulders. In quiet moments, beneath the glow of the tribal lanterns, the woman reflected on the journey that had brought her here, from a condemned outcast to a symbol of hope. She knew that the true battle was not fought with guns alone, but with hearts willing to forgive and embrace change. Her legacy was not just a story of survival, but a call to action for all who believed in the possibility of a better world. As the lanterns flickered against the night sky, their light carried a timeless promise that even in the darkest times, courage and respect could ignite a flame powerful enough to change the course of history. The final chapter of this tale was written not in bloodshed, but in unity. The woman, the Apache warrior, and the 10 chiefs forged a community that stood as a testament to resilience and hope. Their alliance became a foundation upon which future generations would build, a future where the lessons of the past guided the path forward, and where respect was the cornerstone of peace. Stories of their courage and compassion spread beyond the borders of the town, inspiring others to seek understanding amidst division. The tribal lanterns, once symbols of a single act of mercy, now represented a movement, one that challenged the brutal legacy of the Old West and offered a new vision of coexistence. The light they cast was a reminder that change begins with the brave choices of individuals willing to stand for what is right. The woman's name became legend, spoken with reverence by those who knew the true power of honor in a world often ruled by fear. Her story endured as a beacon of hope, proving that even in the wildest frontiers, humanity's greatest strength lies in its capacity for kindness. The Old West was forever changed, not by guns or conquest, but by the courage to choose respect over hatred. As the sun set on the vast plains, the tribal lanterns continued to glow, their light a symbol of an unbreakable spirit. They told a story that transcended time, reminding us all that even the smallest act of bravery can illuminate the darkest night, and that peace is always worth fighting for. The story you've witnessed today is more than just a tale from the Old West. It is a profound lesson on the power of courage, compassion, and respect in the face of overwhelming odds. Through the bravery of one woman who dared to protect a stranger, we see how even the smallest act of kindness can ignite change that echoes through generations. It challenges us to look beyond fear and prejudice, reminding us that true justice is not blind. It is deeply rooted in empathy and understanding. As the dust settles over the frontier, the legacy of the 10 chiefs and the woman's unwavering spirit teaches us that peace is born not from conquest, but from the willingness to honor our shared humanity. This story invites us to question our own beliefs and consider the bridges we can build in our lives, even when the world around us seems divided. What would happen if we chose respect over suspicion, kindness over judgment? The answers may shape not only our communities, but our very souls. In a world that often celebrates strength through power and dominance, this narrative stands as a beacon of a different kind of strength, one forged in humility and bravery. It tells us that standing up for what is right, even when alone, can change the course of history. The flickering lanterns of the past continue to shine today, illuminating paths toward reconciliation and hope that every one of us can walk. So as you reflect on this story, ask yourself, what act of courage can you offer today that might light the way for others? How can you become a part of a legacy that transcends time and transforms lives? The frontier's harsh lessons remind us that peace is a journey, one we must choose every day with intention and heart. If this story touched you, please take a moment to share your thoughts in the comments below. What does courage and respect mean to you? And if you want to discover more stories that inspire and challenge the way we see the world, make sure to subscribe and like this video. Your support helps keep these powerful tales alive, guiding us all to be lights in the darkness, one story at a time.